and the community.
I think there's a comfort factor that takes a little bit of time.
Two Guys and a Goalie with Gager, Cassian, and Nielsen. Tuesday and Thursdays at noon, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Oil Stream.
Last summer on the Oil Stream, you and I discussed the possibility of Gagne coming back here on a PTO. He signed with Winnipeg and got an actual contract.
Anytime you can have Sam Gagne involved in your organization in any way, it's a major positive for you.
They love him.
The Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey. Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch. Sundays at 8:30. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
It's time for another episode of The Oil Stream with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola, presented by Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Oil Stream. It is the Monday of the week in which training camp begins, so it's a big one. As always, The Oil Stream is brought to you by our great partners at Popeye's Louisiana Kitchen. We're in the Popeyes studio here right now. They've got the delicious sweet and spicy wings. They're sending me like a card that's preloaded with hundreds of dollars on it. So we can just go down, grab whatever we want from Popeyes, and then have it on the show and show it off. So
I could use that right
really
now.
Good.
I'm starving.
Are you starving? You're starving right now.
Yeah.
Oh man, do you not have breakfast today?
I did have breakfast today. Why do you think it took me so long to get here?
A classic late guy joke. God, I love it. That's good stuff. All right. Tommy Gazzola is here. We are in the Popeyes Louisiana kitchen studio. They're opening up new Popeyes right where that old Red Robin's used to be, right down here in the west end.
Yeah.
So that's exciting news. We'll get into Boston Pizza and Cool Bet as we work our way through this, but also brought to you in part by Boston Pizza and Cool Bet Canada. Actually, just quickly. Well, I'll save it. We'll get to it a little bit later on for Cool Bet because we moved the Bouchard line earlier today. They've got an Oilers points total lineup that we can kind of discuss as well and find out where that is at.
Well,
if you
job
are
on that one,
if
by
you
the
are
way.
yeah, thanks, man. That was easy peasy. I like that. If you're watching on the YouTube chat right now, feel free to chime in. And, of course, you can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. Edmonton Oilers training camp does begin this week. Have you caught much of the young stars so far?
I watched the highlights yesterday from both games.
I've read some recaps, but that's about it.
Yeah. I was talking about Matvei Petrov a little bit in the hangout earlier.
Was he looking good?
I think he's looked good. And this is a guy that we talked about last offseason that they're high on, highly curious to know what he can provide when he becomes a pro. The expectation is for him to be in Bakersfield this year. I know he could play his overage year in junior, but it sounds like that's not really in the cards right now. They want him to go down at Bakersfield, become a pro, and see what he's got at that level. He's a big guy. Lots of tools, absolutely.
His size stands out?
Size stands out. Just how quick and sharp he is. The way he moves the puck. He skates. He moves around the ice really well. And I know a lot of the highlights were on the power play, but he scored a couple of nice goals. And then a couple of a text or two came in during the hangout saying they didn't like Bourgault and his battle level. This tournament, I always ask the players on camera, off camera, when I was talking to them, where does it stack up in level of play? And they'd always say, this is scrambly, hard to get a feel for it because it's a mishmash of guys coming together, AHL guys that played major junior, some guys that played college hockey, and different age, like varying age levels, so that you can't really get a good feel. And by the time you get to game 3, if you played in all 3 games, that's probably where you start to settle in, and it's the last game of the tournament, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but one thing that the texter said in regard to Bourgault is that he wasn't winning battles. Let's see him in training camp. Let's see if he makes an impact in the preseason games. This is, now that we're getting into training camp on Wednesday with the medicals and physicals and all of that, and then the preseason game on the 24th, this is when we're going to be able to have a true indication of where these guys are at.
Petrov could kind of end up being the lasting legacy of Tyler Wright. You know, like if Petrov actually pans out from where they drafted him, you know, like as much heat as Tyler Wright has taken for the prospect list that he wasn't able to build, if they can deliver like a Petrov to become an actual NHLer, man, that's a big win. When they were throwing the puck around on the power play against the Flames, and Petrov had a nice one-timer goal, and Bourgault was working the puck quite a bit. And I think they had, was it Savoy on the other side? I'm trying to remember how they had this set up. And they were working the puck actually down low a lot below the goal line from what I saw in the highlights. I thought that was interesting. And there was the one feed out to Boeki. He scored a nice goal too. I noticed. I'm like, he looks like a pro player. Now, looks like a pro player in game 1 and 2 of the Young Stars Classic in Penticton compared to looks like a pro player in game 6 of the preseason are two entirely different things because the level of competition rises very quickly when you get into the late stages of preseason. And then from preseason
to the regular season, as
right?
we've seen many times before in recent history. That's a whole new level itself.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get into that. If you have any questions, feel free to hit us up. D says, hey, guys, it would be great if we didn't have to close the previous YouTube show to find the new show. It should work out. If you have autoplay turned on, it should just transition you from the last show into the oil stream. If not, and we monitor it on our end, what happens is the one show ends and then a new screen pops up and it just says right there oil stream. You just click that. So you shouldn't have to go out back to the main page to find the oil stream. But let us know. What you can do is go to edmontonsportstalk.com and scroll down and there's a comment section. You can hop in there and that email will come directly to us and we can figure it out from there. But who's got any questions on the week that camp begins? Feel free to hit us up in the YouTube chat or of course on the text line 780-218-9999. 9. Tommy, take me back to the rankings of importance that I missed on Friday. I was watching for a little bit from the hotel room, and then I had to run out, so I didn't get to see the rankings of importance.
I was going to say, did your Regina hotel room internet crap out on you like it tends to do?
It froze a bit during lock shop, and that's when I told Maddie, I said, you're going to have to slide in on a stream. Like the last
Maddie did a great
bad
job,
connection
by the way.
there. So, yeah, from what I saw, it looked good.
Friday was a long day. Like, you do...
It's a long day doing all this, buddy.
It's a long day, dude. It's a long day.
It's a long day because I guess technically, what is it, 3 hours in the morning and lock shop and this, so it's like 5 hours of talking and broadcasting. I love it.
It's rewarding too, though.
It feels
good.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's still not like a full I mean, technically, I guess by the time I leave here, I'm in for like 10, 11 hours, but.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like grinding for 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, those hands aren't calloused.
These hands are
buttery
so soft. Like I put my hands on a baby's butt, and the baby's butt goes, "Ooh, Dusty's hands." Like that's how smooth they are.
They're fresh, baby.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, Tommy.
Okay.
So what did I miss? Take me through what we missed here.
You missed Jack Campbell at number 10, expecting a bounce back year.
Wow, a goalie at 10, not higher. Ooh, I like this.
Yeah. And there is a reason why Jack Campbell, I thought putting Campbell in the top 10, I was like, this is going to piss some people off, but he's going to need to play a prominent role. And I think that there is an anticipation that they're going to try to do 50-50 splits for the starts as much as possible. I do think Skinner will ultimately start more games like he did last season, but Campbell's going to need to play better. Like they needed to start Skinner last year because Campbell was so bad. And that can't happen this year. You need a bounce back year from Jack Campbell. That's what they're hoping for. That's what Jack Campbell's working towards. So I think he's going to play an important role, top 10 role. But I do think ultimately of the two goalies, he's the lesser of importance. And it can change. That's why I included Calvin Pickard in my honorable mention. But then... I think I explained it as we went along. So I had Jack Campbell at number 10.
Okay, number 9.
Number 9 is Zach Hyman.
Okay.
And Zach Hyman is a very important player. And I also said this on Friday is, that's a prominent player on this team. But this team is deep. And I'm not taking anything away from Zach Hyman. He's one of your either your number 1 right winger or your number 2 right winger or sometimes left winger. He's one of your best wingers. But this team is deep, and I put an emphasis on defense in this list, and so I just have Zach Hyman in at number 9. He's going to have another big year for them, and I think he probably will. There's all indicators that nothing should change. He's going to hustle for every goal he scores. They're going to be ugly goals at the side of the net. There's going to be some pretty ones. He's going to grind opposition defense, but he's in at number 9.
All right, number 8.
Number 8, and Evander Kane is in at number 8. And the reason why he's a little bit further down this list, and it's no slight to him, but he has more high-end potential numbers-wise than, I think, Zach Hyman, slightly.
Yeah, I think it's close. But yeah, slightly is the right way to describe it, yeah.
What other intangibles he brings to the table when he wants to be? He's good defensively. He can kill penalties. And he has the element of toughness, and I think when he's on the ice, it makes guys feel a little bit bigger and more confident. When he's on the bench, I think he has that effect as well, especially when he's engaged and going. In his time as an Oiler, it's been pretty good, and I expect that to continue, as do Oiler fans, I'm sure, as does the team, I'm sure. So he does have a little bit more explosive offensive potential. Has he necessarily hit it throughout the course of his career? Not always, but I think it's those other intangibles that just puts him one up on Zach Hyman. Both absolutely vital to this team, especially up front.
All right, let's see here. Let's get to a couple of text messages. This guy at 70218-9999. Then we'll get back to the last two names there. Hey, guys, I turned on the Nielsen show this morning, and I haven't had to touch a thing. The show's transitioned the way you explained to the previous texter. Enjoying the content. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
That's nice.
That is good to hear. Yes.
That's really nice.
I'll take credit for
Calgary that. Glenn says, I watched both games. Bourgault had a couple of strong drives to the net with the puck.
Yeah.
He does not shy away from the dirty areas. So that's big as well. And Tango, of course, is asking any chance they can trade Nurse to get some cap space. So we'll save that one for a little bit later as we continue down through these. So 2 more names here. Who else did I miss? Number 7?
Number 7, it is going to be the other goalie, Stuart Skinner.
Stuart Skinner.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reason why he's lower on the list is, and not higher up in the top 10, is because of the amount of starts I expect and the team probably anticipates him to share with Jack Campbell. Like, if it's a 50-30 split, like, he's not playing 60 to 65 games, not getting that many
Campbell
starts,
would have to be garbage for that to happen. Right?
So,
Campbell wasn't good last year.
And that's why I kind of let him, or placed him is the right way to describe it, in at 7. And can he become a guy that's in their top 5? Yeah. If he's an all-star again, if he's one of the league leaders in save percentage and goals against average, then yeah, if he steals games for them, and he's done that, and he did that more a little bit last year, which was great. But in the playoffs, that didn't happen. Nowhere near as much, and you could even say in that second round series, not at all.
All right, who wrapped up that section on Friday?
On Friday, it was one Ryan Bartholomew Nugent Hopkins.
The Nuge.
The Nuge.
The Nuge.
Yeah, this is a guy that touches all aspects of the Oilers game. PK, power play. He's important to that power play. He's a leader on this team. He's a core guy. And yes, he had a 100-point season last year, which was great for him. And yes, he benefited from playing with Draisaitl and McDavid. There's obviously a good kinship there on and off the ice. Whether or not he gets to 100 points this year, I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to have a strong year. If he gets to the 80-point mark, I think that's pretty damn good. But because of those factors, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and the fact that he's flexible, plays wing, plays center, and doesn't really complain about much, he is in at number 6.
All right, so that brings us to the top 5 players in the rankings of importance.
Yeah.
We know who the top 2 are.
Yeah,
I think.
You do. Okay. Trust me.
All right, so let's break down how these other 3 guys.
We're going right into. We're going to just. Okay,
let's do it, man. I mean,
we kind of slow burned the other episodes where we talked about other stuff, and then we went.
Well, I mean, we can get to. I want to see some of the reaction. I do want to talk about the goalies a little bit here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I think that's it. So let's get it all out there.
Okay.
Let's get it all hanging out there.
Sure.
And then we can break it down. So if you're watching right now, Tommy's about to rank the top 5 Oilers from a rankings of importance. Quickly, one more time through those last ones. 10 was Campbell.
Yes.
9 was Hyman.
Yes.
8 was Kane.
Yes.
7 was Stewie Skins.
Uh-huh.
And 6 was Daddy Nuge. All right.
No longer.
Yeah.
He's got a little sweet fresh bebe at home himself.
He's still a little baby Nuge.
I know.
Hey, 2 babies in that house. Baby Nuge and then
it's
baby
adorable.
Nuge's baby. So
yeah.
All right, number 5 on the list, buddy. Here we go. What do you got?
All right, into the top 5 we go, and in at number 5, and I think some people might value him higher, and we're splitting hairs here at this point. But number 5, I have Evan Bouchard.
Okay.
I have Evan Bouchard at number 5, and
a run of defensemen on the come up here.
Yes, absolutely. Because, like I said, the emphasis on defense is going to be highly important this year. Not that it wasn't before, but they performed poorly. I would argue that as a 5-man unit, the Oilers performed poorly, especially in the early parts of this season. But if you want your defensive game overall to be better, you need your blue liners leading that charge, and then yes, getting that secondary support from the forwards, and then getting a few saves here and there, because there's a lot of skill in the National Hockey League, and your defense can't always be super airtight. This defense certainly was not super airtight last year. But Evan Bouchard in at number 5. He's going to have to be better defensively himself.
Yeah, there has to be some levels of improvement.
He's going to have to not hear footsteps, not have costly turnovers. I know early in the season last year he was playing with Philip Broberg, and you had the 2 young guys. They got exposed. They had some really rough nights, whether it was Bouchard having a tough one or a couple nights later, Bouchard's okay, but Broberg's having a tough night. And it seemed like when one domino fell, the other, was soon to follow. They didn't have a lot of great nights early in the season, but then, Mattias Ekholm comes in, and there's a big change there for Bouchard. So he's going to have to start to be able to stand on his own. And I think at this point, with the contract and getting more money, the way he played last season and how he became a very productive offensive player. We're going to get into that too, but how you could rely on him for the most part defensively. And I, again, think Bouchard benefited from Ekholm, and but he's going to have to start to make that his own thing, where you can rely. Like in a perfect world, he turns into Alex Pietrangelo light.
Yeah, which I don't think will ever happen.
Neither do not at this point.
They just don't have the same motor.
Perfect
right?
world.
And I also think Bouchard's better natural offensively than Pietrangelo too. Right?
That's where you trade up. But if there's any inkling of Pietrangelo in Bouchard, if he develops that, works on it, finds a way to add that to his game, this is a hell of a defenseman. He's already a pretty good one to begin with. So I have Evan Bouchard there. And then offensively, you guys had the line move at Cool Bet today, which was hilarious. Well done on that. I do expect him to have like 50 points should be the expectation minimum. 60 would be, okay, good, you've achieved, and then 70 would be outstanding.
Pat Gregoire, Pete Greggy there was on the Lock Shop earlier today, and I said, I'd like to thank you for putting the line up at 44. And he goes, I didn't even want to tell you guys it was up.
You just
He goes, I knew like Edmonton was just going to hammer this thing. And we did.
Well
and
done.
we moved the line by 8 points.
That's funny.
Which is, you don't see that happen very often. That's how many people were on it from Bouchard's perspective. It's I'm really interested to see how often you're going to roll in on post-game shows, which you'll be able to hear right here at EdmontonSportsTalk.com and watch on the YouTube channel. I'm interested to see how many times this year you're talking about Bouchard's defensive issues because Ekholm is with him. How much do we see of, man, Bouchard's pretty steady defensively when he's with Ekholm, and then he's out there with somebody else, and you're like, man, Bouchard's still a train wreck in his own end. Like, I wonder how much of that will be masked by, and look, this is ideal for a young defenseman. I'm not trying to criticize in any way. Like, this is what teams should do with younger defensemen. They should get somebody who's as stable as they come defensively and play him with that person. But I'm curious to know how much it helps. Like, what can Bouchard learn from Ekholm that he can then take to, say, when he plays with Darnell Nurse, that makes that pairing better defensively too?
I think timing. I think realizing that he might have that extra half second when at times last year and the year prior, he didn't realize that. I think that level of calmness will help. Having faith in your defensive partner, like say he's paired up with Nurse, and we'll get into Darnell Nurse shortly. Yeah. Trust me, there's people going, you can't. Darnell Nurse is terrible at his out zone. He makes some bad mistakes, and he did last year, but he's capable of much better. Mm-hmm. I will say that.
Some of those mistakes will always be there, though. It's just how Darnell, like, even when he has great seasons, you're still like, that was a weird one.
Some of the best defensemen in the league make those mistakes.
Yeah, but we just have a chance to watch them every single night, right?
Yeah,
so it's
exactly. They minimize a lot of them, but they do get burnt as well, and especially when you've played heavy minutes against teams' top players, you're going to get burnt because there's a ton of skill, like we said. But yes, I think there is an element of masking from Ekholm. But if Bouchard's ready to take that next step, evolve a little bit, refine his game in the 200-foot game, he's going to have to start to take on some of that defensive responsibility himself, and I would assume he's willing to. And then that's why I say if he could just somehow become Alex Pietrangelo light, just responsible. He doesn't have to be he doesn't have to crush guys in his own zone. Break up plays. Take away gap control. I talk about Desharnais and gap control. Bouchard can do the same thing. Like, learn how to manage space, limit the opposition in the offensive zone when you're on the defensive side of things. Be strong on your feet. Find ways to disrupt the cycle, and it doesn't always take being physical to do that. It's just, a little bit of brain power goes a long way in that regard. And maybe he starts to pick up on tendencies. And now that he's into his third full year in the National Hockey League, he'll start to comprehend that, recognize patterns, and maybe benefit from that.
A couple of different reactions to Bouchard being number 5 on Tommy's rankings of importance. Tango on the text line, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. If you were listening live right now and you'd like to chime in, simple, 780-218-9999. Add it to your phone. Bouchard might be the key to winning a cup. If he takes another step, it could be it. And then Brent on the YouTube chat says, if Bouchard is in the top 5 of importance, the Oilers are in trouble. So you've got one guy saying, hey, this guy could be the key to winning the Stanley Cup. And you've got another guy saying, man, if Bouchard's in the top 5, the Oilers are in a little bit of trouble here. So but I guess there's already different perspectives on this young defenseman.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's why we do the rankings of importance. Yeah. I would just say that was not Tango, that was Brent, right?
Brent was on YouTube, yeah.
But Brent, if he's the quarterback, the point man on the number 1 power play in the league, and he's putting up, 60 points, let's say, and he's okay in his own zone, I think that's worthy of top 5 on most teams.
Yeah, probably. I think.
But this is why we're having this conversation.
Yeah, it's because I think we have to remember that he's the 3rd defenseman on this list.
Yeah.
Right? He's the 3rd defenseman on this list. Yeah. He's at 5, but that's because there's 2 other defensemen ahead of him. I haven't seen the list, but I think I know where this is headed.
Yeah.
And, I think we have to remember that, he is that important, but there's also 2 other defensemen that are even more important.
Correct. Brent follows up with Bush has 0 defensive awareness. I don't think that's true. He has blemishes, don't get me wrong, but you need to work through them. And this is where he needs to take a step defensively in his own zone for sure. But he doesn't have 0 awareness.
I think somebody who is as smart as he appears to be offensively can also think the game the same way. But to me, it's like the sense of urgency and the wanting to do it defensively. Like Bouchard knows the right play to make in the defensive zone. I think it's just sometimes there's he's just not as focused as he needs to be defensively. Yeah. Which hopefully comes.
He was much, much, much better in the postseason and in the stretch drive.
All right. Your question, 780-218-9999, or comments on this. What we'll do is we'll just keep rolling here. We'll just hit one quick break today, and then we'll be back with the second half of the Oil Stream. So let's get into number 4 in the rankings of importance.
All right, number 4. This is where, I actually don't think a lot of people are going to disagree with this.
Okay.
Number 4 is Darnell Nurse.
Okay.
So
I like it.
We're pulling him out of the top 3.
Yeah.
He's not their number 1 defenseman. And, Darnell Nurse wants to be their number 1 defenseman.
He's paid like it.
He's paid like their number 1 defenseman. Obviously, the market dictates a lot of that, and I think we forget that when we have these conversations. Matthias Ekholm signed for 6 point whatever mil per year a few years ago, and that was the going rate for a really good NHL defenseman. And then that number jumped a couple years later when we saw Seth Jones signed for his huge ticket.
Yeah, right
Darnell
away.
Nurse capitalized on that because the market was reset. But Darnell Nurse at number 4, he is still incredibly valuable to this team. He's important on the ice. He does get dogged and blamed for a lot of stuff. Sometimes it's not even his fault. Yes, he's guilty of making stupid plays in his own zone. He needs to eliminate those this season. He needs to be more responsible. Maybe not pinch at the wrong moments where we're watching him chase. A lot of times last year, too, I know on the post-game show, there were instances where you would see Nurse trying to catch up on the back check, and people would be like, oh, he had a bad pinch, and we'd get these texts or these calls. And really, he was actually recovering for someone else who made a bad mistake, an errant pass or something like that. And so because it's easy to blame a guy, and people, not everyone, but a lot of people look at contract, look at mistakes on the ice, and then they go and correlate the two right away, and that's their argument. I get that. We have this obscure fascination with contracts in the city.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're paid that much, you should be more consistent.
Exactly, and he needs to be. So, but he is number 4 here. He needs to be a pillar, but I think this year he's gonna benefit from the Matthias Ekholm effect as well.
He should. They all did last year.
Exactly.
When he came in.
And I think if a few of those mistakes that he made and those goals he cost the team are eliminated, and he continues to be solid, playing 23, 24 minutes a night, and he had the best plus minus on the team. And we didn't really look at that, and I know plus minus is kind of whatever, but it is an indicator of something. He quietly put together a solid season. He just took a lot of crap from people because of the price tag and him being the number 1 D-man and the team struggling early in the season last year. And I think that just snowballed. But he is number 4. He is valuable to the team. His leadership is incredibly valuable as well. in that locker room. He's one of the guys that sets the tone. I think McDavid and Draisaitl look to him a lot as well.
Okay.
He is a big time voice in that room, and he is one of the pillars on the team. I'll reiterate that, not just on the blue line. So he is highly valuable. Yes, he does have blemishes. He needs to be better and not make those boneheaded mistakes. At the same time, his season wasn't as bad or nearly as bad as some people made it out to be last year.
Let's get to a couple comments in the chat here. Matthew says, Ekholm playing more against elite competition will really help Nurse. The guy won't need to play 25 minutes a night. D says, don't disagree with that statement about Nurse, but OMG. And Pinto Crick just getting in and saying, hoping the ice time is more spread out, and that might be one of the most important things. So that kind of brings us to the next guy. Let's get to number 3 on this list, and then we can kind of tie them all together because that's just how important that group is. Number 3.
I'm just kidding.
Classic. What a mix-up.
Oh,
Tommy,
sorry. It's Monday.
Almost gave me a heart attack.
Oh, my goodness. No. Number 3 is the Viking himself, Mattias Ekholm. And he is their best defenseman right now. And in a year or two, Darnell Nurse might surpass him if Evan Bouchard understands and comprehends and excels defensively and continues to grow offense. Maybe that change. I don't think so. I don't think that. But as of today, going into the season, Mattias Ekholm is their best defenseman. And it is what he does on the ice. That's where it starts. It is the ripple effect that he has not only on whoever his defensive partner is, whether it be Bouchard to start the year or Philip Broberg slots in there and they want to get Broberg going. And then even past that, what he's been able to do, take some of the burden away from Darnell Nurse. If that continues and Nurse can find a groove early in the season and confidence can build there and people are not, knocking him and he can have an excellent season. I think that's what Mattias Ekholm does. It's not just, on the ice in the 25, 26 minutes that he'll play what he does, which is rock solid for the most part. It's how it spreads out to the rest of the group. And just having him on the bench and then having him in the room. He's been through the rigors of NHL seasons for the last 12, 13 years. He's been to a Stanley Cup final. He's basically seen it all. When you look on the bench and you see a guy like that and you're like, geez, this Viking man is on my team, like Evander Kane, you feel better and you can rely on him and you know what you're going to get night in, night out. That helps you elevate your game. So I think just the ripple effect that he has on this group outside of his performance is so valuable on top of what he does give you on the ice night in, night out for 5 minutes a night. So Mattias Ekholm is their number 1 D-man, and the ripple effect is huge, and that's why he's number 3 on this list, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think Bouchard is where he's supposed to be when we compare him to the other defensemen. It's the Nurse Ekholm, the way we value them, because the trickle effect is huge, and you're right. But I also think that, we know what the Oilers are going to get from Ekholm
every night.
If Nurse can have a monster season because of that, that might elevate him above him in his overall impact on the game. But is that overall impact on the game only there because Ekholm has taken some off his plate? It's
right.
It's half a dozen one way and 6 the other, or whatever the saying is. It's pretty close. It also is incredible for this team to have this luxury of these top 2 defensemen.
Exactly. This is a great problem to have. And if Nurse can pick up a few things from Ekholm in the process too, because Nurse isn't a young NHL player anymore, but if he can pick up a few tricks from the wily veteran and add them to his game, that's great. So yeah, I think Ekholm is vital to this group on the ice, off the ice. That's why he's in behind the 2 big dogs.
Couple of messages from the Oil Stream chat on YouTube. Nurse is a great skater and love to see him out there. He just needs to pinch a little less and more zone coverage. They said let him fly sometimes and score when the chances come. And the original George says Nurse could play 25 minutes if he only did his job and not everybody else's.
I think that's a fair point.
That's a really good point.
When he was caught out of position, again, I did say earlier sometimes he was making up for others' mistakes, but a lot of times he's trying to do something else or trying to do too much, and he's scrambling and he's flying, and 1 minute he's in the far corner, then he's hustling back as the first back checker, and you're like, how did he? Because he's fast, and you're like, why is he there? And you break down the film, it's like, well, he overcommitted. That does happen. If he just kind of refines his focus, I don't know,
just do your job and very well,
whatever term you want to use. But that's a great point by Original George. And yes, if he can do that, just pick a few things you want to do on the ice in a game and excel at that instead of, really spreading it out there and maybe leaving yourself vulnerable and put yourself into bad spots like he has done, like he did last year.
All right, so there you go. That takes us up to 1 and 2. We know who number 1 and 2 is. We're going to dive into that conversation a little bit. We'll get to more of your messages that are continuing to roll in here on the YouTube chat. We're just step away for 3 minutes, grab a quick drink. We will be right back to take you the rest of the way to 1 o'clock right here on the Oil Stream on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Well, this mouse is a little sketchy. Here we go. There we go.
2 guys and a goalie.
I think we're going to see some big things from Evander Kane this year.
You think so? Like if he stays healthy, like 40 goals or something?
He's used to Edmonton now. He's solidified, I think, his place in the dressing room. I think there's a comfort factor that takes a little bit of time.
2 guys and a goalie with Gager, Cassian, and Nielsen. Tuesday and Thursdays at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Friend of EST, Eric Thomas, takes you around the track all the way to the checkered flag on Raceline Radio. Tuesday nights at 8 and Saturday morning at 9. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get to know the winners, props, plays, parlays, and more with Nielsen and Hustler. Weekday mornings at 11 on The Lock Shop. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Don't feel like working? Join the Hangout. You never know what you might hear. Weekday mornings 9 to 11 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Elks Call is the newest Edmonton Elks podcast located in Edmonton, discussing everything Elks. Join friends of EST, Scout and Catherine, Friday nights at 8 on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. The Oil Stream.
Last summer on the Oil Stream, you and I discussed the possibility of Gagné coming back here on a PTO. He signed with Winnipeg and got an actual contract.
Anytime you can have Sam Gagné involved in your organization in any way, it's a major positive for you.
They love him.
The Oil Stream with Nielsen and Gazzola. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon. Only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tom Gazzola and Sean Bell take you on a hot lap around the NHL with Hello Hockey. Saturday mornings at 10, only on Edmonton Sports Talk. Catch up with friends of EST, Andrew, Mike, and Kayla, as they get you in the huddle with the Edmonton Elks on the Turf District. Thursday nights at 8, EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join friend of EST, Guy Flaming, for the Pipeline Show, Monday nights at 8 and Saturday at noon, as he has you covered with CHL, CJHL, USHL, NAHL, NCAA, and U Sports, plus the World Juniors, Frozen Four, and NHL Draft on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Get all the latest news and takes on everything Oilers with Dustin Nielsen and Tom Gazzola on the Oil Stream. Live at noon, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com. Join Murray McCourt and Curtis Stock for tips and tales from courses around Edmonton and area with the VIP Golf Show, presented by the Tailor Made Performance Center at the Ranch. Sundays at 8:30, only on EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
All right, welcome back to the Oil Stream, brought to you in part by Boston Pizza. We should have the details soon on where we're going to be doing a live Boston Pizza episode of the Oil Stream. That'll be in an evening once again, and everybody can can pop by, and we set up speakers, so we do like the oil stream right there in the Boston Pizza, and you can actually text us questions from your table and stuff, have some of those delicious Thai chicken bites, and if you know people, they'll make you a smoked ham and chicken stromboli sandwich, right? Neil, I'm looking at you.
Neil,
that's
stromboli,
really good.
smoked chicken, or ham.
I never know what he's doing back there. Neil, the stromboli. F.
You destroyed that one.
I did destroy it
when we were at the Northgate BP.
That was absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I could tell.
All right, so this segment of the Oil Stream brought to you by Boston Pizza, as always. Coolbet, presenting sponsor of a lot of the different things that we do here at Edmonton Sports Talk, and actually, we'll get to that a little bit later on. Something with Coolbet that I want to get to before we wrap this episode. All right, we've got lots of text messages rolling in, 780-218-9999, and in the chat as well. Let's see. Ranked Scrub says, in my opinion, Ekholm was the most important defender for the Oilers this year. He's going to be charged with imparting his style of play on both young guys and vets like Nurse. You had him at number 3 on the list, the top defenseman there. D says, I hope Broberg has a breakout year, beats out Kulak for the 3 LD spot. How nice would that be to have Kulak as our 4th best left defenseman? Cup or bust in 2024. So
I like the thought of that, D. I think it's kind of wishful thinking. Kulak's like entrenched as the 3 LD.
Yeah.
If anything, it's going to be on the right side for Broberg. Things can change. Injuries occur. But Kulak, I don't think a lot of people are saying Kulak needs to be moved out of there, but it's interesting that they don't just leave that be. Broberg's game needs a lot of work.
Yeah, don't touch Kulak, man. Leave Kulak right where he is. Alone. Allow him to be as steady as they come. Yeah. And when you go on a run to the Stanley Cup, Kulak's going to give you, if needed, 20 really good minutes a night. If needed. And not even needed. If you had to. Because you're not going to play that. But if you needed to give him 20 minutes, he'll handle 20 minutes for you, I think.
No problem.
Lucas in a Ford Ranger texts in to 780-218-9999 and says, Collingwood BPs, you cowards. Collingwood BPs.
Who makes that call? Is it Tara?
Tara from Boston Pizza makes that call. Now, are you talking about the one on Collingwood Road, like in the Hamptons? Because we've done one in the Hamptons. I'm trying to think the Collingwood Boston Pizza. What am I missing? I don't right in Collingwood. I don't necesserily think there is a
one
Boston
by Collingwood
Pizza
Arena? I can't remember. I don't think so.
No. There's no. I ran in that Collingwood area all the time.
Mm-hmm.
There's the one in the Hamptons, and then there's the one up by the mall. Lucas in a Ford Ranger.
Help us out here.
Pulling our tail here. I think you're pulling our tail on this one. All right, so we've gone through the entire list up to 3. Let's get through 1 and 2. We had a little bit of discussion about these 2 guys, and then I do want to come back around to one thing that I want to take away from this entire list. But all right, Tommy, number 2.
Number 2, Leon Draisaitl.
And number 1,
Connor McDavid, the best player in the world. It's as simple as that. Can McDavid surpass 155 points? Can he score 65 to 70 goals? Can he get close to 100 assists? That would be pretty cool to see. And then Draisaitl, 128 last year. Absolutely insane. 52 goals. So I think, for him, another 50-goal season, another 120-point season. These guys are just amazing. And I think there might be a tiny bit more wiggle room left for them to slightly push the bar higher in their personal best.
Can you imagine that?
But we're getting to that summit right now. It's as simple. Connor's the best player in the world. There's days where Draisaitl is the second best player in the world.
Well, there's days when Draisaitl's the best player in the world.
He can.
I honestly
that many,
think,
but yeah, sure.
No, it's not. But there are games when Leon Draisaitl looks a lot better than Connor McDavid, and Connor McDavid is the hands down best hockey player I've ever seen. It's ridiculous what he does. Yeah. But I do think Leon, has nights where Leon is more dominant,
And
which is
that's-
crazy to think. You got like these two alpha males. It's like I think I've told you before. A lot of my TikTok feed lately is lions hunting animals, right? And it's like two males in the pride, and not always do they get along. Sometimes they'll kick out the younger males and they'll have to go.
Oh.
But these two males are dominating the Sahara Desert, right?
As a team.
As a team together, and sometimes the male that's not technically the alpha all the time can handle going out and
he
making
leads the
kill,
pack. And
right?
yeah, and that's the part of an 82 game schedule is there are nights where guys are maybe a little nicked up, tired, whatever. It happens. And the other guy steps up. It's an amazing thing that we're witnessing, and I expect it to continue, and I'm sure they do too.
Enjoy this because
Yeah.
when these two guys are gone, and I'm not talking about the contract thing, I'm just saying in like 10 years when these two guys are retired, you will never get this again, Edmonton. And
No.
because nobody gets it twice.
Well,
Like you had it with Gretzky and
Right.
the Moose, and then now you've got it with McDavid and Draisaitl, and it's just like it's not even. This would have been the equivalent of having Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux on the same team. Like that's
Wow.
that's what that is.
Is it?
It's darn close.
It's pretty darn close.
It's pretty darn close in today's
Yeah.
game.
Lemieux and Yager were amazing. And then you had Crosby and Malkin.
Lemieux Yager's a great comparison.
Very, very good. Those two were the.
Yeah,
Didn't they have four
Lemieux-
of the five
Lemieux-
top scorers, 95, 96?
with
Penguins?
Ron Francis
Yeah.
and Kevin Stevens.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Lemieux Yager is probably Crosby Malkin pretty good too because when one guy was hurt, the other guy would win the heart. But same with Mario and Yager, right? Like that's what you have here. It doesn't happen very often. Who else would have had like the 1-2 punch? Like Yzerman and Fedorov for a while there. Like
They
those
were
guys,
great.
they weren't at like that level, but damn, were they close? Like,
Taves
they're
and
just-
Kane had a brief moment, you know?
Yeah, a different level because
Backstrom,
Taves wasn't amazing
and
offensively. Right?
Ovechkin. Jay says Gretzky, Curry. Yes, of course.
Whatever the
Gretzky,
combination.
Messier.
I mean, whatever the combination. I'm just saying, enjoy this for now. But
Yeah.
okay, so if Connor McDavid is at 1 and Draisaitl is at 2, on a scale of 100%, like how would you break it down? Is it like a 60-40 split on how important they are? A 70-30% split? Like I'm trying to figure out because
that's a good
there were
point.
some people in the YouTube chat who were like, I think I might have Draisaitl at number 1 in the overall scheme of like everything else that he does.
And then there's
Like,
some
he's
people
out there
that
for
would
the
probably
big face-offs and like
There's some people that would trade Draisaitl because they're dumb and they text and call into the post game show.
oh, you got to be excited for pre and
I'm
post,
very
buddy?
super
Like-
excited. The on-camera element is going to be amazing. You can come by, say hi when we announce where we're going to be. And I don't know. We haven't talked about our preseason schedule in terms of doing the pre and post game show. And I know you're going to have Matty Cassia and Joaquin Gage and Sean Bell will have a bigger presence on the pre and post game shows this year. I am super excited for them. I love the grind and the roller coaster ride of the regular season. I know Iwanek is saying, he's like, I don't care about the regular season. Just bring me to the playoffs. That's when we dial it in. Yes, but that's, to me, the reward for the 82 games and plus preseason. You get the postseason, and it's 110% intensity all day, every day for a month and a half, maybe 2 months this year. We shall see. But I look at it as the reward for going through the grind of the regular season. I love the regular season. I love the ups and downs. I love when people get pissed off at us. And there were some nights last year, especially early in the year, where it would wear on you. And I don't know, like last year, you'd be like, oh, that was a battle tonight. And I think it comes with higher expectation for this team. And when you expect them to win every night and then they crap the bed against Montreal on a layup of a Saturday game and you got to deal with it and you're like, whoa, that one took a lot out of me. But that's kind of part of the fun. And maybe I enjoy torturing myself, but I love pre and post game. I really do. I don't know. We took it over back in the 1260 days and there's just something about it that I'm just like, it gives you a rush.
Yeah, no, it's a rush. Like after a post game, like even doing Elks post games back in the day on 1260, it's just, you're coming on right after the game. Everybody's so fired up. It's really good. This text in this says, Dusty, there's no lions in the Sahara Desert. I think you met the Serengeti. Northside Lou, sorry. I get my Saharas and my Serengetis mixed up all the time. That's on me. Lucas says the Boston Pizza is by the DQ across from the Co-op beside Ace. I'm still lost.
Isn't that
here.
like every strip mall in Edmonton has all of those elements?
I'm still lost here. I think we might be having our Collingwoods mixed up. I think I'm not viewing Collingwood what you're
This is funny.
viewing Collingwood. Like, do you mean by the DQ across from Save-On next to the liquor store?
Boston Pizza, Collingwood.
Yeah, give me the exact address on this. Because I don't think it's in Collingwood, technically. Is it in Lessard?
It's 390 First Street, Collingwood Road.
It's on Collingwood Road?
Yeah.
What?
There's a lake? Or am I looking at the wrong place
There's
here?
a lake?
Wait, this is Ontario.
Dude.
Sorry, dude.
You gotta
I'm like-
just
like-
go search nearby.
Sorry.
Okay, let me look here. Where are we now?
I don't know.
That's
Maybe
87.
we'll be
I
there.
gotta get back over by my place. It's like I'm looking in Collingwood. I don't.
Beats me. Was that Lucas? Oh, MG says Collingwood is where Franco's is.
I see Franco's.
Yeah.
I
Do
know
you see
Franco's.
Boston
The
Pizza?
Donaire place. No, there's no Boston Pizza there. That's it. You're messing with me, Lucas. Keep driving. Leave us alone.
Keep listening.
So in the chat, Jay says 50-50 on a McDavid Draisaitl split and how important they're a team. I think I'd part of me wants to go 55-45 because McDavid's the best player in the world. But you could go 55-45 the other way because Draisaitl is out there for some pretty key moments defensively. Mm-hmm. So it's
they feed off of each
yeah,
other.
I'd probably go like 52-48. Like you got to give a
Okay.
little bit of a nod to Connor, but
53-47.
right there, it's
Boom.
it's
Happy
close.
medium.
It's tight, I guess.
Very great problem to have.
Guys, that's the Hamptons location. That's what I said.
Yes.
I said the Hamptons. We've done the
We've
Hamptons.
done that one.
We've been there.
It was great.
On Collingwood Road. It's
That's
right.
right.
Next to the Dairy Queen, but it's not a co-op. It's a Save-On. And then there's a liquor store right next to it, but I don't think it's an Ace Liquor. That's where I get my wife's extremely cheap wine that she likes to drink.
Hello, Tam.
My wife likes to drink $10 wine. So I'm a big wine guy because I roll in them. 3 bottles, $30. It's the best. Anyway, yeah, we've done one of that Boston Pizza. It's great. It's
better than
That's
the
my home
$30
Boston
bottle
Pizza.
one. Yeah.
Come on, we got to get this sorted out. It's on Collingwood Road, but it's in the Hamptons. Come on, Collingwood's on the other side of the Henday. Ridiculous. Okay, here's the one concern I have. I think your list is put together very well.
Thank you.
But to me, it's a little bit of a concern that the highest goalie on this list comes in at number 7.
And that's why people are concerned about the goaltending in general.
Okay, well then fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why as we progress through the Oil Stream rankings of importance of 2023, I said the team defense is going to be important.
Extremely
and that's
important,
why I had the defense men a little bit higher. I skewed it to defensemen because they're going to need to lead the charge in the back end naturally, but they're going to need help from the forwards. But if this blue line, these 6, 7, if you include Desharnais, Broberg, whatever it looks like on most nights, are going to have to really pick it up because last year, yes, there was crappy goals that got scored on Campbell on most nights. But I know, and we, on the pre and post game, especially on the post game shows, people were pointing the finger at the blue liners, and yes, they had like really bad gaffes. But a lot of times too, we forgot where those plays started in the defensive zone, and it was when an outlet pass, when a good outlet pass got bobbled by a winger, and there was no support. A centerman missed his check on the back post, or didn't take a guy in the slot, or waved at a puck instead of dove for it. Like those little things cost them, especially early in the season. So their team defense in the back end was really, or in their own zone was really bad. And then, so the Blue Liners are going to need to be better. They're going to need a few more saves from Jack Campbell and Stuart Skinner, especially in the playoffs. But it's going to be defense as a 5-man unit.
I would say when they get to the playoffs, if they're going to win a Stanley Cup, one of those 2 goalies has to be in the top 4 at least.
Like the chance of that happening is
in
likelier
the
with Stuart
playoffs,
Skinner.
right? Like,
Yeah.
If Skinner was going to play 60 games, would you have him in the top 5, like ahead of Bouchard?
Yeah, probably.
I think so.
I
think if you knew one of those guys were going to become like the guy again this year.
But they're not right now.
And, Rashad today on the Monday morning Got Your Back mandate.
Yeah, he phoned me.
He phoned you.
I don't answer those calls.
Yeah, the worst thing we ever did was put Rashad on video with access to toys
Gadgets.
in front of him. Like,
he's a dork.
it's jeez Louise, Tommy Gazzola.
He's a dork.
Actually, I would say Rashog is more of a dork than either of us are.
Yeah.
God love him.
We're dorks.
But I'm very much a dork. But I think Rashog is even more of a dork than I am.
Yeah.
And dork's not a bad thing. It's just I
mean it with love, Shogger.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we mean it. But he said the biggest storyline for him even going into camp, and we'll get to this as we work our way through camp. But he said, who starts opening night?
Stuart Skinner.
I think that's what I said. And Cass last week was like, it has to be Skinner.
Yeah.
And I think it has to be Skinner regardless of how camp goes because of what he did for you last year. That's kind of how I see it, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see where that conversation comes out. I do want to get to this for Coolbet here on the Oil Stream today, and we talked earlier about the Bouchard line and how all of our AM Nasties and Edmonton, we got to come up with a name for like the sports talkers in general, like the Edmonton Sport, the ESTers maybe. I don't know. It seems like there could be something a little bit cooler than that, but something to think about.
I like, just really quickly, EST becoming our. We call it Edmonton. It's Edmonton Sports Talk. But if it becomes EST, I think that's a cool way to.
It sounds nice.
In time, those things have to happen naturally.
The Oilers' season-long team total is kicking around here somewhere. Here it is. Over or under 107.5 points.
This is the year I think they go over.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah,
I'm not going to sit here and talk about wagering my home on it, like I did with Bouchard earlier today. But I do think Oilers, if you had to say, they set the number. It's 107.5. If you want to bet it, go to coolbet.com. 107.5. I think we'd be in agreement that we're both on the under on that one.
I'm taking the over.
Or the over, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, the over. Me too. Yeah, me too. All right, so there you go. The over on that one as well. Davin is in and says, remember all of the penalties we got at the beginning of last year? And then he's got that. Is that a crying face? Or is it
and they couldn't kill them. They got burned.
Yeah.
I can't remember how many games. There was
that has to be better.
How many games in a row they went with giving up a power play goal against. And
I think I remember the
it
answer,
was
Tommy.
so bad. What?
Too many.
Too many. Yeah, it was a ton.
It was too many. Can't have that again. There's just no way. So
it was brutal.
Well, I mean, there's a way, but you just hope that it's not a way.
Right.
Fingers crossed. All right, so tomorrow, golf tournament.
Yes.
There's media golf tournament tomorrow,
right.
So we're going to be in on that. And then training camp on Wednesday.
Wednesday training camp, so we're going to have to figure something out. I might have to do it from the rink. Or
get you on. Or
maybe I come in after the rink. I mean, it's going to be a hurry up and wait day. It's medicals and physicals. I might duck out.
You can pop by for a bit.
Yeah.
Even I can start this, and you can just slide in.
You know what? We'll figure that out because we'll get the time. They usually start early. A few guys will talk. We're going to start the rink reports.
Yeah, that'll be good. You'll be able to see Tommy with reports from the rink.
If you want to sponsor that.
If you're looking to sponsor the rink reports, hit us up, business at edmontonsportstalk.com. It'll be Tommy every day from the rink doing like a 90 second to 2.5 minute video, just stand-up style. And we'll throw your company logo on there and give you a plug.
And the other thing, too, is because we can do whatever the hell we want on this station.
We can, yeah.
I might even just do interviews with players.
Beautiful.
Other media, whatever we feel like.
I like
the rink report.
I like that a lot. So, yeah, if you're interested in partnering with us on the Rink Report, feel free to reach out, business at edmontonsportstalk.com or slide to our DMs or whatever. And we think we can provide you a crystal clear, affordable rate to get the Rink Report up.
Get your name out
That'll
there.
be good. Yeah. Huge thanks to Coolbet and Popeyes and Boston Pizza for presenting the Oil Stream. And, hey, tell your friends about the Oil Stream. Download that podcast. It's doing relatively very well. So, make sure you sub to the podcast because we're banging this thing out 3 times a week live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tommy, get us out of here, buddy.
All right. Let's go. It's hockey season, and the rankings of importance I thought were a success. So, to everyone who tuned in, texted in, joined in the nasty chat, we appreciate you. Keep subscribing. We're almost at 4,000
Very close
YouTube
to 4,000
subscribers. Yeah, smash that thumbs up button. Let's get that algorithm game going. We want to win it. We want to win it all. We'll see you on Wednesday.
The Lock Shop.
We've been doing this for a long time. We spend all this time salivating over the season. Sometimes, if you haven't learned your lesson, you go hard betting on week 1. And then we get ready to get into week 3 of the season going, what the hell were we talking about for a month leading into the season? Because everything we thought was the case was wrong. So I always tread a little lightly. And I mean, I try not to make these so